are rich teams and there are poor teams. Then there's 50 feet of crap. And then there's us.
Oakland used to be good. Just 5 years ago, they'd have back-to-back 97-win seasons, both resulting in a single wildcard loss elimination. The Athletics would get back into the postseason in the shortened 2020 season, losing in the ALDS to the Astros. Even just 2 years ago, the roster consisted of Sean Murphy, who is now arguably the best catcher in baseball, Matt Olson, who finished 8th in MVP voting that year, Matt Chapman, a 3-time Gold Glove winner, now in Toronto, and having a scorching hot start to the 2023 season. Starling Marte got traded to Oakland mid-season and kept up his incredible numbers from Miami. The rotation would have one of the top trade targets of the 2022 trade deadline: Frankie Montez, Sean Manaea, Cole Irvin, Chris Bassett, none of who are on the team just 2 years later. Moneyball was about the 2002 Oakland Athletics find a way to replace Jason Giambi, Johnny Damon, and Jason Eisenhausen. The A's let them go because they couldn't compete with the big market Yankees and Red Sox, not because they didn't want to pay them. Billy Beane, the A's GM, successfully found a way to find their replacements for a lot cheaper prices. Is this current team another case of trying to find replacements at a cheaper price, or is this the worst version of tanking we've ever seen? A case of tanking so bad that we've only seen it once and it wasn't even real. Just last year, we saw them go 16-102, finishing last in the West and the second worst record in all of baseball. This year isn't looking much better either, with all-star players being traded and are now stuck with players that wouldn't be on any other major league roster and a couple prospects. The Coliseum, known as the worst in baseball, is being left to rot. Attendance is at record lows, with multiple AAA teams having higher attendance than Oakland. The last 2 years averaging less than 10,000 fans per game. This isn't completely new. The fans haven't consistently showed up to the Coliseum since the late 80s, early 90s, and their 3 straight World Series appearances, finishing 4th or better in total attendance in the American League. They have not averaged more than 25,000 since the 2005 season, and attendance has slowly gotten worse ever since. But why the decline after 2005? It wasn't a coincidence. Current owner John Fisher bought the majority of the team that season and has since tried to relocate 6 different times since. 0 World Series appearances and only 1 ALCS appearance, where they got swept by the Tigers in 2006. Isn't the 17 plus years of accomplishment you want as an owner? Total attendance has peaked at over 2 million just once, with Fisher as a majority owner. With the Athletics playing at the Coliseum since 1968, a move to stay in California but to share the same city as NHL's San Jose Sharks was made but eventually declined. Plans to finally get a new ballpark in Oakland were announced in 2017, with model pictures being made. A unique new design for the historic franchise, but still giving the fans in Oakland a team to root for. With slow progress being made, in 2021 MLB gave the A's permission to seek relocation to a different city, and boy did the owner get excited when he heard that. Only problem was the team was coming off 3 straight playoff appearances and an 86-76 season that year. It's tough to move a historic franchise, and even harder to move a historic franchise who has been successful as of late. But there's still an idea on how they can move the team. Have no fans show up, and that's exactly what they did. They dismantled their team and made a team so bad that no one would want to spend their money to come see them play.
Matt Olson to Atlanta in exchange for Shea Langoliers, the catcher, Christian Pache, the center fielder, as well as pitchers Ryan Cusick and Joey Estes. So a 4-for-1 deal.
Sean Murphy on the move from Oakland. It is a 3-team trade, 9 players involved. The Braves are getting yet another big catcher.
Starling Marte is officially a New York Met. 4 years, $78 million.
Matt Chapman of the A's going to the Blue Jays. The A's are selling. They've been a big winning club. They do it on a shoestring budget, but they've made it happen. And Matt Chapman, not coming off his best year, but he is a defensive standout. You see 63 defensive runs saved at third base since 2018.
With that, I'm very excited to be able to introduce Mark Canna to the Mets.
It may be almost over for the fans in Oakland, but them, along with you, can still make it out to the ballpark in this new season to watch your favorite team play in person. SeatGeek will help you get tickets to every game or any other event you have your eyes on, and with promo code BREWPACK, you can get in for $20 less than usual. Just click on the link on your screen or in the description. Rebuilds happen. Other teams are currently rebuilding, like the Nationals. Trading Juan Soto after he declined a $440 million extension and getting a haul of prospects in return is a great move by the Nationals. They did everything they could, and Soto just didn't want to be with the Nationals. They didn't make that move with hopes of changing cities. The Reds, Rockies, Pirates, and Tigers are also technically rebuilding, but they're also just cheap teams who don't want to spend other than bad contracts given off to Chris Bryant after trading Nolan Arenado, and the Tigers handed Javier Baez $140 million to get benched. All of these teams have had their homegrown talent. O'Neill Cruz in Pittsburgh, Soto in DC, Votto won an MVP with the Reds. We'll see what Torkelson and Green turn out to be in Detroit. Rockies don't have anyone currently other than Charlie Blackmon, but he's past his prime. But they produced some good players not that long ago. Trevor Story now in Boston, Nolan Arenado hasn't slowed down at all in St. Louis, and one of the most exciting players in baseball before injuries pretty much ended his career, Troy Tulowitzki. Oakland is no different in making their own players. The core of the team, who made 3 straight playoff appearances, were all drafted by the team. Sean Murphy, Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, who are all now out of Oakland. Small market teams rely on hitting big on their draft picks, and when your most notable first-round selection since 2015 is a football player, and the second most you trade right after his breakout year, then trade the players you actually did get right, well, you're not going to win many games. Earlier, I mentioned how other teams are handing out contracts to former MVPs and All-Stars even if they haven't worked out. The largest contract in Athletics history was given to third baseman Eric Chavez back in 2004, who signed for 6 years, $66 million, before John Fisher was the owner. The largest amount agreed to was to Chris Davis for $33 million, but not even half of that was paid due to the shortened 2020 season, and the Rangers also paying some. The most amount that was fully paid by Fisher and the A's was Billy Butler's $30 million. Butler was released by the end of his second year in the 3-year deal. Fisher has enough money to sign better players to bigger contracts, but why do that when your whole plan is to get rid of any good player? The Athletics are yet again in a baseball movie, one that wasn't originally based on a true story like Moneyball, and unlike Major League, this team isn't coming close to
win the whole fucking thing.
Just this past week, it was announced that Athletics are closing in on a deal to build a new ballpark in Las Vegas. Pretty much all but confirming their move out of Oakland in the next couple of years. The fans aren't giving up without a fight just yet, as later this season they have a reverse boycott planned to sell out the Coliseum, possibly for the last time in Oakland.